Capital for a day, kind of like being line leader for the day back in school. Remember that? Today, the North Idaho town of Wallace is the Gem State's honorary capital for a day. It's a day for the governor and other state leaders to hold office hours, where locals can have a chance to walk in and talk shop and share concerns and issues, that are relevant to the county or the city where they are. Shoshone County, for this fact. Wallace has been called a lot of things over the years. It's also known as the silver capital of the world, since mining has been a backbone of the city since the 1800s. More than $7 billion worth of metals have been mined out of the Coeur d'Alene district since then. But this former focal point for silver mining also holds a claim to another title that is much bigger than silver capital or even state capital for a day. Wallace claims to be the core of the cosmos, and in 2017 we made the trek to North Idaho to see how the center of the universe came to be. The canyon town of Wallace sprang up in the 1880s when miners struck silver in the surrounding hills. Since then, more than 1.2 billion ounces of silver have been pulled from the Coeur d'Alene mining district, making Wallace's moniker of silver capital of the world well earned. Mining has slimmed in the Silver Valley since its heyday, but the town has held on through hard times. And that early mining spirit lives on, an independence traced through its complicated connections with the federal government. Despite its seeming seclusion, the feds have found their way to Wallace a number of times. Mining wars in the 1890s brought in the National Guard. In 1910, thousands of soldiers were sent here to fight the largest fire in U.S. history that took out nearly a third of the town. Then, in 1967, the Federal Highway Administration came calling.
Hey, we want to do you a favor. Build this beautiful ribbon of cement, Interstate 90, right smack dab through the middle of your town.
In a word,
Grief, it would have taken out most of Wallace.
Nope.
To put a freeway right through.
So city officials set out to get every building here on the National Historic Register, and they succeeded, meaning the interstate would have to go around.
They did this downtown core, every building, and then all of a sudden the whole town was listed.
Rick Schaefer calls himself the Prime Minister of Wallace, and if his 6'8" frame didn't stand out enough, he likes to give tours of his town wearing a tux.
It's just clean.
Yeah. And tails.
It is America. It's hometown USA.
Yeah, hometown USA.
Schaefer says it was during the mining downturn of the 80s, the Environmental Protection Agency claimed a century of mining had made Wallace dirty with pollution. The problem was, Schaefer says, they couldn't pinpoint if mining or nature caused the contamination of lead.
The EPA cannot prove that naturally forming galena silver ore is a health risk.
But a cleanup crusade began, bringing negative attention to an already ailing city, a 20-year intrusion that irked some residents.
You're stepping on the wrong people.
One night in 2004 would forever put Wallace at the center of a philosophical conversation.
There's 4 people sitting in the Smokehouse Saloon down at the corner of 6th Street and Bank.
The Smokehouse has a history of pouring drinks since the turn of the 20th century.
So, I think more than one idea has been probably hatched in this room.
The idea hatched that night goes back to the EPA.
The EPA has a rule of probability that says if something cannot not be proven to exist, it could just as well exist.
Which led to then-Mayor Ron Garatone to proclaim,
I, Ron Garatone, Mayor of Wallace,
Idaho, and all of his subjects do hereby solemnly declare and proclaim
Wallace to be the center of the universe.
Thanks to the newly discovered science of probabilism,
we were further able to pinpoint the exact center within
the center of the universe, to wit, a sewer access cover slightly off-center from the intersection of Bank and 6th Street.
Right here.
Right here.
Yep, Wallace is the center of the universe because
this is the manhole cover.
You can hear the water underneath.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Yet one more reason to make your way to Wallace, even if it's just to pose for pictures at the essence of our existence.
Is it really the center of the universe? But of course.
Brian Holmes.
Prove that it isn't.
Prove that it isn't, exactly.
Idaho's News Channel 7. Well, if the James Webb Telescope has shown us anything, in a world of endless boundaries, anyone has the right to claim themselves as the center of the universe. And a lot of people have. That claim comes with some competition. Starting in Seattle, there's a neighborhood to the north known as Fremont. But to the locals, it's known as the center of the universe since 1991. They even have a sign that says so, and many other signs to say how far other destinations are from said center. There's also Tulsa, Oklahoma, There, a tourist attraction featuring an acoustic anomaly claims to be the center of the universe. Because apparently, standing in that circular spot in the middle of a pedestrian bridge built in the 80s, and you're standing in your own private echo chamber. A noise made here bounces back louder than it left your mouth. Oh, and let's not leave out Ashland, Virginia.
Ashland.
Yeah, that's what I said. More than 170 years old. It's a town full of history with a strong connection to trains. Their mayor, back in the 80s, claimed center of the universe status because of Ashland's closeness to Virginia's capital, the nation's capital, the mountains, and the beach.
Let's hope your journey takes you through the center of the universe in Ashland, Virginia.
Okay. Even though they were a bit late to the party, Wallace's claim is still centered on a better story.